Hello friends, it's Mirror Witch 13 and I'm here to make a video on how to properly cleanse and charge your crystals as quickly as possible. There are many books on the subject and many videos on YouTube informing you how to properly cleanse and charge your crystals, but I feel that they don't necessarily answer every question that someone might have as to how can you tell when your crystal is cleansed enough or if it's charged enough? How do you, if you're not necessarily sensitive to that, how can you tell when it's ready? So here's a little bit of tips that I find that are good indicators as to whether or not you've, sufficiently serviced your crystals on that level. As you can see, I'm burning incense right here. Incense is one way that you can cleanse and charge a crystal. This here is my tiger's eye, if you can see it. It's a lovely tiger's eye with some beautiful stripes, and I'm going to show you how to cleanse this crystal over the smoke of incense. Now, what they would normally tell you to do, and I'm going to use my dark hair as a background, is to place the crystal in the smoke, thus, and eventually it will be cleansed and sometimes even charged. But the question is, how do you know when you've done a thorough enough job? Well, I like to, and my spirit guides have guided me to hold the crystal into the stream, the main stream of the flame, of the smoke. And I don't know if you can see very clearly on the video. Maybe my hair is a better background. But if you see, the smoke itself is actually forming a sort of film over the entirety of the crystal. This is a good way of knowing that, yes, the crystal is entirely enveloped in this smoke. When you remove the crystal from the smoke should cling to the surface of the crystal for longer than 2 to 3 seconds. When it does that, you know the crystal is thoroughly cleansed. One, 2, 3, this is before 5. See, that was 5 seconds where the smoke actually clung to the surface of the stone. That way I know that the crystal is cleansed. But to be sure, you can always make use of a pendulum, such as this one. Now, I learned to read the pendulum based on my Reiki master's teaching. And she informed me that for her, when it swings, and I'm going to do it on purpose, back and forth towards me, that means yes. When it swings side to side, that means no. When it swings in little circles, that means maybe or so-so. So I use my pendulums to tell me whether or not, let's move the smoke a little bit to the side, whether or not the stone is cleansed. So, is this crystal properly cleansed and charged? As you can see, it's indicating that yes, this crystal, through the use of the idiometer effect, is properly cleansed and charged. Another way that you can cleanse and charge your crystals, which is not so commonly used, is through the use of a Tibetan singing bowl, like this. What you do is you take the crystal, like this lovely piece of malachite, you place it in the center of the bowl, and you use your intuition to determine whether or not you should continue using the music to cleanse the crystal. But this is a very good method to use for stones such as selenite that cannot take being submerged in water, or being buried in the earth as other ways of cleansing and charging. And these stones actually resonate very well with sound, more so than even the smoke, the charging of the smoke. The smoke does a thorough enough job, but I've noticed that it takes a longer time. But for delicate crystals such as these, the singing bowl is the fastest, most efficient way to cleanse. So what I do is I place the malachite in the bowl, I thrum it 3 times to get the vibration going, and then I simply allow the vibrations of the bowl to move the crystal. As you can hear, there's a rattling sound in the center of the bowl, and that's actually the stone being moved by the vibration. That's a good indicator that the vibrations are doing their job. If you know anything about numerology, you can actually pick a specific number depending on your intent as to how many times you will rotate the mallet around the bowl to cleanse the crystal. I tend to like to use the number 13. You wait for the sound to cease. Then you take the crystal in your palm. Is this crystal properly cleansed and charged? See, now today I used this crystal in a Reiki session, so it's giving me an indeterminate answer, which means that it probably needs a little bit more work than that. So I'll go ahead and I'll put it back in the bowl. Or I might actually, this might be the better idea, to go ahead and combine it with the smoke cleansing. As you see, it's creating a film over the surface of the crystal. That's what we're looking for. Oops, my talking actually made it stop. Hold on. Now I'm pulling it away, and the smoke is clinging slightly. There was a woman today who had an injury in her foot, and I was doing a Reiki session, and malachite is good for aches and pains and whatnot, and physical injuries. So I allowed her to hold this while she was receiving Reiki, and as you can see, that can be a little draining on a stone such as malachite. Although that's a very useful stone for this, you have to be sure to, if you're going to utilize your stones, especially for other people, be sure to give it the proper care that it needs so that it can continue to be of use to you and those that you'd like to help. All right. 1, 2, 3. Yep, a little longer. This takes a lot of patience, and this is actually a very meditative process. This is a very meditative process. Cleansing your crystals is almost as good as cleansing your own auric field. You can hold your individual crystals and give them each individual attention. And as you're doing this, you thank them for the vibrations that they've been supplying for you. Thank them as you would a friend who has been there for you that day. So I'm going to, again, use the singing bowl. sound has stopped. You know, the charge has been set. Once again, I'll utilize my pendulum. Has this stone been properly cleansed and charged? We're getting a yes. By the idiometer effect, utilizing my own intuition, we received a yes. So this is a very effective method. Now, if you have a particular stone that just for some reason you can't seem to get it cleansed, no matter how many times you hold it under the smoke, give it into the singing bowl, bury it under the earth, it just can't get its original luster, what you can do is fill your singing bowl with salt water. Place the stone within, actually I have a bit of water here. Be sure that you have a treated singing bowl so that you won't get any rust, or to take proper care of it, or if you have a crystal bowl, that's even better. And we'll see if you can see this in the camera. You probably can't without me spilling. But it actually changes the tone. But as you spin the water, preferably salt water, with the crystal inside the singing bowl, you will actually see the pattern of the vibration of the water spinning around and around and around in your bowl. That's how you know that the water is effectively removing any type of negativity or strain or anything like that from your crystal, and you know that you're giving your crystal the proper care that it may need. Once again, do not utilize this with crystals that may dissolve in water, unless that's your intent as well, unless you're intending to make some sort of gem elixir and you want that crystal to dissolve. But once that's done, you can dry your crystal off and be sure to get rid of the water, because the water will be holding the negativity that you drew out of it with the vibration of the singing bowl and the salt water. And there you go. You have yourself a lovely cleansed crystal. Now, I hope you enjoyed this video, and rate, comment, or subscribe if you like. If you have any other techniques of cleansing crystals that may be a little different, that are not your traditional techniques, I'd be very interested in learning them myself. We're all learning and growing. Blessed be to all, and happy energy work.